Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. In this one, we're going to look at a wildcard draft for game week 7. Not just any wildcard draft, the best wildcard draft for game week 7. So let's get into it. Okay, before we get into the wildcard team, we're going to have a look at some team projections from Solio Analytics. If you don't know about them, check them out. solioanalytics.com @solioanalytics. I'm sure you already do. Projected goals. Now, Arsenal are top here. It's pretty close at the top between Arsenal, Man City and Liverpool. They're all pretty high. Arsenal's are kind of skewed a little bit to this week, given West Ham at home is a fantastic fixture. You can see, you might not be able to see the numbers on mobile, but you can see the colours at least anyway. The darker the shade, obviously, the higher the projection or the better the projection. You can see that at the very top left there, West Ham at home in game week 7 is a pretty dark shade for Arsenal. That is a great fixture for them. You can see in game week 8 that Man City and Liverpool have good fixtures, and there's dark shadings all around, really. Those three are the teams that are the best for projected goals over the next 5 game weeks. Then it's Chelsea. Again, no surprise, really. They've looked okay in attack, apart from the last couple of weeks. But in all fairness, they have had players sent off in those games. They've gone down to 10 men, so they haven't really given their attack much of a chance, because they're just chasing at that point. Then it's Newcastle. Newcastle have started the season well, more so defensively. They also haven't looked that bad going forward. They've also got some quite nice fixtures coming up, so I don't mind Newcastle in there as well. Brighton are another one. Brighton look quite good going forward. At the back, not so much. They haven't really kept many clean sheets. But going forward, we saw against Spurs that they did pretty well. We've seen that they've done pretty well against Man City as well. They are quite good going forward. Players like Minte, players like Matoma, players like Ruta are all very nice. So then it is Spurs. And Spurs are a bit of a weird one. In some games this season, they've looked so good. They've looked really good going forward, really fluid. Kudus has been fantastic this season. Richarlison's been good at points as well. Then at the back, they've looked really solid in some games, like they're not going to concede. But then in other games, they just have looked kind of all at sorts. They really haven't looked good. So they are a bit hit and miss, Spurs, at the moment. So not quite sure if we're going to want to go there on wildcard, really, given that they've only kind of got 2 good fixtures coming up in the next 2. Then after that, it's not so good. But yeah, up to you on that one. But we'll go through the team. I haven't actually got any Spurs players in the team just because of that reason. I don't think, one, you can predict the minutes of the forwards enough, like Richarlison. I think that he probably just gets random bench-ins. One of them probably this week, given he played 90 minutes in the Champions League. And the defenders, I think they're just so hit and miss, like I mentioned. So I probably won't be going there. Then Man United are up here, Bournemouth are up here, Villa are up here. Again, that's just because of some nice fixtures. Then on to clean sheets. Arsenal are clear favourites here, like absolutely clear. Look at the amount of dark blue in the top line. And you can see it's dark purple over here in the total. And you can see in the trend line as well that it's very high at the top, where you probably can't see that on mobile. Man City, Chelsea. Now Chelsea's trend line, if you can see it, starts off pretty low because they're playing Liverpool this week. But then after that, it's not so bad. Their fixtures get a bit better. So Chelsea are the 3rd best defence here, or the 3rd best projected for clean sheets over the next 5 weeks. Then it's Newcastle. That's no surprise. They've started really well defensively. Then it's Liverpool. Liverpool defence hasn't looked good, I don't think. I really don't think it's looked great this season. We saw how Crystal Palace kind of battered them, honestly. Crystal Palace could have scored so many more goals in that game. But yeah, then it's Everton, then it's Brighton, Spurs, Palace, Leeds. Leeds is an interesting one. You could get a 4 million defender from Leeds. These are the projections. Now let's have a look at the team based on that. Okay, moving on to the team now. And there's kind of 2 teams. I'll explain it in a minute. But essentially this team has Haaland and Salah in it. This first one that I'm going to show. Because I think that if I was on wildcard this week, I would try and squeeze both in. It's not very easy with the budget, admittedly. There are some sacrifices. There is nothing in the bank, and that's at my team value. So if you've got worse team value, my team value is pretty bad, honestly. But if you've got worse team value, then there are places that you can move down a bit. Like, for example, the goalkeeper spot is one of them. But let's get straight into it anyway with the goalkeepers. So, like I mentioned, Raya is one that you can move down. You can go to Nick Pope. The Newcastle defence has actually looked pretty solid so far, and they've got okay fixtures, so you could go down to Nick Pope if you wanted. If you need to go down even further, you could go to Petrovic from Bournemouth. Whoever you go for goalkeeper-wise, Raya is the best option. But if you can't afford him, then there are options that you can go for that are cheaper. Obviously, we've got Dubravka on the bench. He's a no-brainer. If we go on to the defenders now, I think that the defenders just pick themselves pretty much. Senesi is an absolute no-brainer in here. He, even at like 5 million, I don't know what his price is now, I think it might be 4.9 million. Even when he gets up to 5 million, he is just a bargain for what he is. He's going to get some clean sheets because the Bournemouth defence isn't that bad. He is going to hit DEFCON in almost every game. He's hit it in every game so far. And he's grabbed 2 assists this season. Now, that isn't something that you can rely on from a centre-back long term, don't get me wrong, but it's still good that he's doing that. Gabriel, this game is perfect for Gabriel. West Ham at home, they are by far the worst team in the league at defending set pieces. We've seen that. We've seen that even under Nuno in his first game. Now, granted, Nuno hasn't had much time to change them or better them in that regard. I still think it will carry on into this game. So Gabriel is just fantastic. And obviously, Arsenal were by far and away the best defence for projected clean sheets over the next 5. Richards is another really good option. He is also great for defensive contributions. Now, Palace also have Lacroix and Gehi. Gehi is the one that's going up in price because he's getting loads of attacking returns. I don't think they're particularly sustainable, whereas defensive contributions are, and Richards is better for them than Gehi is. So I would go with him. Lacroix is just a bit more expensive. He's also very good, but I don't think there's any need to spend the extra funds when Richards is right there, to be honest. Another good defensive contribution option is Anderson. Now, his fixtures aren't that great in the next few, but with these other guys that rotate in, then it's kind of fine that you can go with Anderson because you don't need him every week. There is going to come a point where you can actually play 4 at the back, probably, because all of these defenders will either have a good fixture or be great for DEFCON. Anderson is definitely in there. Then you've got a 4 million defender. Now, this can be anyone you want it to be. What I would suggest is you take this team forward quite a few weeks and look at when you need that 4 million defender. Obviously, we saw Leeds in the team projections, so you could go with a Goodmanson, you could go with a Rodham. I kind of like the Sunderland defenders. I think that they are much better for DEFCON. Mukiele and Alderete have both hit DEFCON a lot. I mean, a lot. The one reason that I prefer Mukiele, or 2 reasons actually I prefer Mukiele. One, he's on those long throws. Now, granted, that's not going to come from much a lot of the time, but this week it might, in all fairness, because Man United won't be able to deal with them. We saw against Brentford, Coyote had those long throws and couldn't deal with them. So I don't actually mind starting your Sunderland defender this week. But also, Alderete is just so rash that I'm surprised he hasn't been sent off or at least got more cards this season. So that's my only reasoning. They're both great though. There's no reason to think that either one of them is that much better than the other. In terms of other players you could look at here, Tarkowski's obviously an option. I just don't think you need to spend 5.5 million on a defensive contribution defender when we've got Anderson, when we've got Richards, when we've got Senesi. They're much cheaper. Well, Senesi isn't that much cheaper anymore, but they are cheaper, and for me they serve the same purpose. I don't think Everton are going to get more clean sheets than these teams, so yeah, I don't think you need to spend the money. Obviously, you could go for someone like Timber or Calafiori instead of Gabriel. I do really like them. Timber in particular has looked really good going forward. He's looked really good in general, to be honest, Timber has. And Gabriel, obviously, we're not getting him for defensive contribution points. We're getting him for clean sheets and the odd attacking return. So I don't mind Timber if you think he continues to play every single game. I would just be a little bit wary that Ben White plays the odd game. Maybe that just comes in the Champions League when they've got the easier fixtures. But yeah, I'd just be a little bit wary of that. So that's why I'd rather pay the extra money for Gabriel. On to the midfielders now. And a lot of them are no real surprise. I mean, Salah is in here. I do have a draft after this, or not a different draft, but if you don't want to go with Salah, then I do suggest where you can downgrade him and upgrade the funds at the end. So stay tuned for that if you don't want to go with Salah, because I don't really blame you if you don't. He really hasn't been great. I don't actually think Liverpool have looked that great going forward either. I don't think he's essential by any means. You don't need to go with him. So stay tuned for that if you want to find out where I downgrade to and then upgrade the rest of the team to. Reinders is in here. I think Reinders should be in everyone's team. I don't really see why he wouldn't be. He's like, 5.8 million or something at the moment. He's performing, or he will perform. He is performing, and he will continue to perform like a 7 million midfielder. So For me, he's just an absolute bargain. Semenyo is in here. I don't really think I need to explain that one. It's just a joke. Bruno Fernandes is still in this draft now. A lot of people won't particularly want him in here. I think that he is still a fantastic option. It's Sunderland at home this week, which is an okay fixture. Sunderland haven't looked bad defensively, but I still think that he is probably on penalties. Yes, he missed the most recent one, but the most likely candidates to take the next one, if not him, are Cunha and Mbermo, who have both already missed a penalty this season as well. So the only thing I think we could see is Bruno kind of giving out penalties like charity, like he's done before. I still think he's probably on them. He just has so many routes to points as well. If he gets one attack in return, he's pretty much gonna get the full bonus. And he's also quite good for DEFCON as well. He nearly hit it in the last game. He was one off. So yeah, I just think he's a really good option. He might be a little bit expensive at 9 million, but I still think he's good. And then we've got Minte in here. So we saw Brighton in the team projections. Going forward, they look really good at the moment. Minte does seem to have locked down that spot on the right wing. Now, I'm not suggesting he's going to play every single minute of every single game, but I do think he'll start pretty much every game. And at 5.9 million, which is actually a bargain, I think he's a really good option here. Given they've got some good fixtures as well, I think he's a nice budget option in there. Okay, so moving on to the forwards now. And this is where you have to make sacrifices if you do want Salah. So I've got Calvert-Lewin here, who's got Tottenham at home this week. Not the best fixture, but Leeds in attack have actually looked quite good, I think, over the last few weeks. They didn't start that well this season, but I think over the last few weeks they have actually looked good. Dominic Calvert-Lewin seems to be the number one choice up front for Leeds, and I can kind of see why. He's getting a lot of chances. Leeds are creating quite a lot for him. He's not really finishing those chances yet. I mean, he has scored, but he's had a lot of chances and he hasn't finished quite a lot of them. But they are creating chances for him. He is only 5.5 million. You could go for someone like Lyle Foster in this team. I just think Calvert-Lewin's a bit better because he's potentially on penalties as well. Probably on penalties, I suppose. I'm not really that involved with Leeds penalty takers, so I'm not 100% on that, but I'd think he would probably take the next one. You can't get up to Thiago here. Unless you've got great team value, then maybe you can get up to Thiago, but Calvert-Lewin is in here. Haaland is obviously in here. Haaland is obviously the captain this week. I do kind of like Fernandes as a captain this week, but I'd probably just go with Haaland. Now, if you don't want to go with Salah, or you've still got your bench boost left to play and you want to play it soon, then these are the changes that I would make. So, you've got Salah down to Sarr. I think Sarr's a fantastic option going forward. I think everything good from Crystal Palace seems to go through him, and I would have liked to have had him over Minte in the original team, but you just can't afford that. And Minte's pretty good anyway. That means that you can also upgrade Calvert-Lewin to Gyökeres, who I think is going to be really good for the next few weeks, to be honest. I mean, I think he's going to be this kind of flat track bully guy that Haaland is when City play these smaller teams and they beat them 4-5-6-0. I think that Gyökeres and Arsenal are going to be that. Then you can go to João Pedro here as well from Mark Gui. I've just moved Anderson and Mukiele along, but these are the only changes are the ones in orange. So João Pedro as well. I think João Pedro is good this week, to be honest. I mean, Liverpool at home, the Liverpool defence isn't as good as people are making out, I don't think. I don't think it's that good at the moment. I don't mind that fixture for him this week. The problem you're going to have is that you're going to have a lot of benching headaches, which is obviously good because you need to play bench boost soon, potentially. And if you do need to play your bench boost, then I think I'd probably go for game week 8 for bench boost. You've obviously got quite a lot of money in the bank in this draft as well. I've got 1.1 million in the bank if I'm making this draft. Yeah, that's the team. If you do like it, make sure you hit like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you are putting any questions you've got on this team or your team or anything FPL related into the comments. But yeah, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.